Gang. Blouses.
All right, week 2. It is wrapped. It is in the books. We are done. No more chances to set those lineups and get a dub. It is done. The in-season tournament is done. We had a lot of injury news, a lot of news around the league this week, in injury news and otherwise. So we're gonna dive into that. We're gonna dive into some Magic stuff because I gotta talk about my boys here for a little bit. And then we're going to go over our wins and losses for our league, our standings, the power rankings, and how those are looking right now, and just a few other things concerning this week's matchups, week number 3. Here we go. Okay, so let's talk about the in-season tournament. First games of that were on Friday. I like this. I think it's fun. I think it encourages competitiveness and not sitting out games this early in the season. I think it's going to work for the league. I hope it's not something we see as an every year thing. I think this is kind of an incentive for some of the guys who have been taking advantage of the resting or lack thereof policy. And yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of competitive games, a lot of fun matchups. The Knicks-Bucks game was phenomenal. That was a lot of fun. I got a chance to watch a little bit of that on Friday, as well as the Nuggets-Mavs. Always good to see Luka and Jokic face off. That was a super competitive game. Mavs didn't go away; they were hanging around, and eventually they just got buried towards the end there. But there was a lot of good things to say about the in-season tournament. Now, not crazy about the courts. I think it looks some of them look a little over the top, a little goofy, but it is fun to see this kind of competitive and competitive energy and edge this early on in the season. I think that was by design. It's not lost on me that is the case. So yes. All right. Yeah, we got a lot of injury news this week. Julius Randle, if you want to count him as an injury, I have him at the top of the injury news, even though it's not about being hurt. It just feels like he is playing hurt because of the insane drop-off that we're seeing. I don't know if I'm ready to hit the panic button on him yet, but I know that a lot of people in New York are not happy with how he's performing. Stay off of Twitter, I can tell you that. They're not being very nice to him. Right now he's averaging around 13 points a game and shooting under 30% by a few ticks there. So hopefully that does not become a regular thing this season, because Jalen Brunson is going to need some help, and the Knicks are looking to take that next step. So hopefully Julius gets on the right track. Other big news, not really surrounding an injury, but James Harden's going to make his debut tonight against the Knicks. Speaking of, so is he going to take over the offense? Is he going to push Russ to the bench? Is Terrence Mann going to get less touches? Are Paul George and Kawhi going to get less touches? Is the rotation going to be kind of in flux right now because they bring in this system player, the system that is revolved around him? What's going to happen when they bring this guy in? Is this going to be another instance where he feels like he has to do less to let the guys who are here already that have chemistry kind of pull him along the way? Or is this going to be something where he just gels immediately and this is a match made in heaven? I don't know. He's back home. He's playing a little bit differently. He's going to feel okay, but I couldn't help but to feel bad for him at that press conference, man. It really did feel bad, but I don't know. Maybe he's just a psycho and he knows that people will feel bad for him if he says certain things. I don't know. We'll see. Tonight against the Knicks, that's what I'll be watching for sure. So keep an eye out for that game. Let's give a shout out real quick to our first guy who popped in and let his thoughts be known. I don't want to call him a hater because that's too much. But yeah, Ranger Rick, thanks for listening, man. I appreciate you. I know it's a terrible name for the pod, but let me just clear it up. It's been our name of the fantasy league for many years, and I am a big fan of the Chappelle Show. That's no secret. So yeah, that's what we've been calling the league, and then we decided to create a podcast around it, which one single dad called potentially the most boring thing that I have ever heard of, and hopefully you only get like 5 views, I'm guessing. And I said, no, man, we actually get about 10. So yeah, how about that? So just shout out to him real quick. Thanks for listening, bud. I appreciate you popping in. Sorry about the terrible name, but unfortunately we're not going to be changing it anytime soon unless we decide to reevaluate the entire league. So there we go. All right. Thanks for listening. All right. this is the real-time injury news, not the Julius Randle version of it, but people who are actually hurt. Let's take a look. The one I'm most concerned about right now, this is not something you ever want to see, let alone once. Now it's twice. CJ McCollum, another collapsed lung incident. Currently, right now, he's at averaging, if we're rounding up, he's averaging about 21, 6, and 5. This is the second time it's happened. He missed 18 games the last time it happened a couple years ago, and I'm hoping that's not the case. Yeah, I'm hoping that this is something that he can bounce back from. But this isn't a sprained ankle or like a sore hammy or some sort of shoulder, neck, back, knee, foot, hand injury. This is something entirely different, and I'm a little concerned about whether or not he'll be able to come back from this, if he's medically going to be asked to maybe reconsider what he's doing to his body. We'll see. But I hope for everybody's sake, especially for Jesse, who has him on his team, that he does get better. Another one that we're well aware of, Coach Pop already said he's going to be out a little bit. Devin Vassell, Jack got banged up this week. He had SGA. Donovan Mitchell was out. Brandon Ingram. And now Devin Vassell. So he's got some guys on there that are dealing with some nagging stuff. Donovan Mitchell, I'm not that concerned about, but Shea for sure. He always seems to. At least last year and years past, he's got little tweaks, little things that kind of aggravate him a little bit. But he's still going to go out there and he's going to put up buckets. He's going to put up points for your team. So something to look out for sure. But yeah, Vassell being out, he's going to be on. He's going to be on watch for a while, so good guy to stash and just pick up somebody who's having a good week and see if you can maintain the momentum you have with your team if you already have him on there. It's a big loss though. He's having a good year so far, but Keldon Johnson and Victor Wembanyama's touches are obviously going to go up. Spurs are a funny team this year, man. They they beat the Suns back to back, and then they blow a 20-point lead to the Raptors on Sunday, and the Raptors ended up winning in OT. I think that's just kind of a matter of experience and defense and doggedness on Toronto that, quite frankly, San Antonio I don't think has right now. They'll get it, but I don't think they have it right now. Another injury news, Beal, he's out for his 7th straight. Last night, no idea when he's going to come back. I don't even know the extent of his injury, to be quite honest with you, but I can tell you this. If you are having a rough start, this is actually not a terrible thing for your team. Take advantage of that IR slot, stash him away, and grab somebody who's having a surprisingly good year. Somebody who can fill in that void of what you're going to get from Bradley Beal, likely, mid-20s and a couple assists here, some rebounds, and hopefully another high-volume shooter that's going to get a lot of touches and shoot very well from the free throw line. That's another thing, too. Bradley Beal is consistently a very, very good guy from the stripe. So, stash and build. That's all I can tell you. I don't really know what else to say there. All right, Scoot. Yeah, again, a lot of people in Portland not very happy. Where's my what the fuck button?
What the fuck?
Yeah, big concern for Scoot. I'm a little nervous for the people in Portland. It's not looking great. He has no timetable, which you never want to hear that. Speaking from a Magic fan's perspective, which we'll get into in a second. You never want to hear the phrase "no timetable for return." We deal with that a lot. Portland and Orlando seem to be at the top of everybody's, injury, games missed kind of per season at lists. They're always at the top. So at least we got something going for us. All right, Magic news. Let's just get this out of the way real quick before we get into the fantasy league specific stuff. Thanks for hanging around, guys. I appreciate it. Let us know if I missed anybody, too, in the injury report. Drop it in the comments and, somebody that we should be concerned about or something, somebody that you think deserves a mention for sure. So we talked a couple of weeks ago, or last week, rather, about Wendell Carter going out with 1.3 seconds left on the clock with a broken hand. He broke his, I believe it's his middle finger, this one. Hopefully, I'm right or left. I'm not sure if it's right or left. I can't remember. But he came to practice. He was heavily bandaged, they say, and he opted in for surgery. So they're going to reevaluate him after 3 weeks, which is better than the 6 to 8 week time frame that they initially gave. However, I do think that it's still going to be the case of like, hey, let's chill for 3 weeks, and then let's see what you look like after that. And then what they'll do on that is put a timeline on after that. So we could either be in very good shape, and he could be back after 3 weeks, and he's feeling good, Or they could look at it after 3 weeks and go, yeah, actually, we're going to tack on 6 to 8 weeks for rehab after that. Hand injuries are weird. They're tough. They're tough to deal with. Obviously, you have to use your hands. You can't go out there, and avoid a hand. And something that JJ Redick talked about last season on Old Man in the Three, and people choosing to sit out games. If you have a nagging injury that is preventing you from playing basketball at a high level, you will get exposed. There is no question about it. At this level of the game, they know. They know what's wrong with you. They know what hurts, and that's what they're going to do. You're going to get fucking smoked. So, yes, Kawhi Leonard is going to sit out because his knee hurts, because if he's out there, even so, if he's, better at 75% than most people are at 100, he's still going to get beat. So, you don't want to ever rush anybody back, especially this early in the season with a nagging injury like that. So, it's something to definitely look out for, but I'm not ready to panic about it yet, but it's close. Another thing to mention is that Markelle Fultz is also out. Him being out made me a little bit nervous for sure in the beginning. I was very uncertain as to what direction this team was going to go, because we always seem to have multiple starters go out around the time when it starts to get cold in Florida. So anytime you walk out and you smell that crisp fall air hit your nose and it feels good, you want to sit outside with a nice pumpkin spice, whatever the fuck, on your porch and just enjoy a Saturday morning. Just know that same feeling is also consistent with the fact that someone in the Orlando Magic roster is going to have an injury. It just happens all the time. Obviously, we don't get crisp fall air here until November or December, so we at least wait it out a little bit before anything happens. But that is a big issue. So that being said, I was a little bit nervous about what was going on with Markelle. We lose 2 starters. Goga Bitadze starts in place of Wendell, which makes me nervous because a lot of you guys are asking, who the fuck is that guy? So I get it. I get the concern. But here's the thing. He didn't do that bad. It was all right. He stepped up into the starting role and just, did what he had to do. Just keep doing what you're doing, as Coach Carter would say, to Junior Battle. Great movie. And I was a little nervous about the Kell absence because of the fact that we haven't seen a lot from Anthony Black. He didn't get a lot of minutes. The backup point guard minutes were going to our 6-man and social media manager, Cole Anthony. So it was a lot of concerns, a lot of questions about, is this guy for real? Is he going to have a problem shooting like everybody said? Is he going to be able to guard like they wanted him to coming out? And let me tell you, this kid is the real deal. 19 years old, coach tells him he's starting day of, and he goes, all right, basically gave him an all right bet, let's do it. And he went out there and he defended. I mean, he's gonna have very difficult matchups. We don't have our first Eastern Conference opponent until I believe it's this week in Mexico City. We play Atlanta. But tonight is a great test of what this defense could be. I'm a big Anthony Black fan now. I like what he's doing. I personally, I think that he could take the spot from Markelle Fultz. We'll see. But it's very early. I get it. But he's already proven to be a little bit better from behind the arc than Markelle Fultz is. He certainly looks like he's a quicker defender. He's a big body. We like those lengthy, kind of positionless out top guys that play very, very hectic and in your face defense. So I like that. But again, we have a big test tonight against Dallas. Kyrie and Luka are going to be manning the 1-2. That'll be the start. So will we lock it up with Jalen Suggs and Anthony Black out there in the perimeter and cause some problems and get Luka to start bitching about everything? Probably, but I still think that the Mavs are just a team that is not going to go away. They're too good. I mean, Luka is averaging a triple-double right now. Kyrie is doing his thing out there. Derek Lively growing into his role. He had a great showing against, I believe it was against Phoenix in his first game out. The Spurs, his first game out, when he just took the world by storm against Victor, who was getting all the love. So they need a little bit of depth at the big position. Grant Williams cannot be your third option. I know that there's other guys on that team that can be considered the third option, but right now, in terms of, I guess, mainstream, guys that you're going to go to when you see them on a roster, a lot of the casual fans are going to mention Grant Williams. So, not that you should take anything from them. But yes, this is a big test for the Magic tonight. So I'm hoping that we can get one. get a big win in Amway again. We had a nice one on Saturday night against the Lakers, and it was a lot of fun to watch, man. It was a great game from start to finish. A lot of stuff to be excited about. So we will I'm hoping to keep building on that. So all right, we're gonna dive into the fantasy stuff right now. Damn it. Okay, as I said, week 2 is in the books, and we have some matchups to look at, to go over, to talk about. We have our first tie. We have a matchup of the week that I said was going to be our matchup of the week, and it did not disappoint. It was a lot of fun to watch towards the end. And, just a couple other things that might have caught the whole league by surprise. Definitely caught me by surprise, but we're going to go over that and some power rankings. But let's take a look at how last week looked. Screen. I took the win over Jack. That was a tough one for me. It was definitely an issue towards the end. I thought for sure that I had certain categories locked, and I didn't. I thought steals were there, and then Oscar Thompson from Detroit. I hope I'm saying his name right. One of the twins. He played very well. We were separated by very little from the free throw line. As I think it's 0.1, right? Was it not? Yeah, he was 0.3. So, still very close, very very close. We were both in the 70s and threes, and I ended up edging him out in rebounds, but still very close. Went up to Sunday. I was on the edge of my seat for sure. So something to watch for sure going forward, because I don't think that Jack is going to be a slouch this season. I definitely think that if he had SGA and he had Devin Vassell and he had Brandon Ingram for the entirety of the week, I would have gotten my ass kicked, and it was not a good week. So I definitely think that Jack is somebody to look out for. Overall, a very competitive week. As you see down here, no one got blown out. The closest to it, and it wasn't really that big of a blowout. I mean, it kind of was, but sorry. There was field goal percentage wasn't that big of a blowout. So really, you're a few blocks, 7 blocks, and a couple missed free throws away from this being another 5-4 match. So we have Randy Bobanders and my boys. My favorite team name in the league. Don't go Jason Waterfalls with the dub, a convincing dub. Would have he jumped up in the power rankings this week. We'll talk about that in a second. And yeah, it was great. This was a matchup that I predicted correctly, guys. I got something right. Hallelujah. Let's go. Colby, Tingus Pingus, I got one thing to say to you.
You blew it!
Oh my God, dude. What happened? We were one away in so many things. This was so close. This was probably the closest one that we had it was for sure. It was, you're 14 points away, you're 1 assist away, you are 1 turnover away, and you are 0.1 free throw or field goal percentage away. This is the closest matchup we've had in a long time in this league for sure. Not only was it one category, but it was 3 or 4 that were within striking distance, and one day could have made the difference. 3 threes as well, 12 rebounds. This was super close, guys. The only one that really heavily favored Lincoln was steals, but Lincoln did his thing. He got in there, he managed, and he says he doesn't think he managed that well, but anytime you come out with a win, you did something right. So big ups to him. And once again,
Who the fuck is Tingus Pingus?
who is that guy? Man, Colby. That's a tough one, but I don't think that that's a reflection of him as a manager or his team. I just think that that's a very close and competitive matchup. So we're gonna be looking for that rematch in 7 weeks or whatever it is, 8 weeks. So let's see. All right, my guys, where are they? Oh no, do I not have it? I don't have the fucking sound drop for. No. Oh, that's such a bummer. I lost my sound drop for Smoking a Bowl, so we're just going to go Shmirkaboo. And he came out with the win. Congratulations to Brian. This was a surprise to me because I didn't think Dom was going to lose assists. He did. Brian almost cracked 300 boards, 6 points away, 7 turnovers away, 3 steals apart, and man, this was another close one. Super, super competitive. This one I guessed incorrectly. So Team Hibachi, also known as Luka Doncic, Not cooking this week, not cooking with gas quite yet, but he will be. Any team with Luka on it is a problem. Do not sleep on this team. Just like I said about Brian's team last week, anybody with Nikola Jokic in fantasy categories is a problem. So make sure you set your lineups against these guys and really try to look and see what you're sacrificing, what you can do, where you're lacking, and just go into that weekend and see if you can strap in and just hang on and hope for a victory here. So, and last but not least, this is good that it's the last because it's exciting. We got a tie. We have a tie. It doesn't happen often, but Jake tied 2 people last week, I believe it was. I think it was Brian and maybe Randy with 2 ties. That would be Smoking a Bowl and Randy Bobanders last week for the outside of the league guys. Yeah, this was a close one. This went to the 9 p.m. games, and it was right down to the wire. They're 1-3 apart, tied in steals, 3 blocks apart. Points was another story. Within 1.5% in field goal percentage, which it's not really going to swing on Sunday, but excuse me, that is what it is. And yeah, look, it's not that big of a deal. A tie is a tie. Don't complain about it. It's not a loss. It's also not a win. But don't be beating yourself up about it. I think both of these teams are definitely something to watch too. And the Memphis Grizzlies are only 16, 17, or 18 games away from getting Ja Morant back. So we'll see an uptick in Jake's production after that happens for sure as well. So let's stop sharing here. Let's go back to this. Hopefully that's all right. Look, this was a super competitive week, and week 3 is going to be no different. So I'm very excited about this. Something to look out for. I will put up the power rankings. I'm gonna put them up. Fuck it, I'll put them up right now. So we'll see. We're gonna go from 10 to 6 right now. And again, this is based on who has beaten the most teams per week. So this number that I'm saying after your name and after your team name is the teams you would have beaten per week on average. So right now we're averaging 2 weeks together. We added up week 1 and week 2, and we divide by 2. That's how math works, I think. So in 10th, we have first team all rookie. That's Jake's team with 1.25 wins per week. In 9th, we have Brian, who made a jump. He beat a few teams this week, statistically speaking, across the board. That's Smoking a Bowl with 2 wins per week. We got Randy Bobanders at 8 with 2.25 wins per week. We have Tyrese's Pieces. That's Imran at 2.75 wins per week. We have Luka Doncic, also known as Team Hibachi, cooking at 3.5 wins per week. And now we're going to get into the top 5, which is fun. So if you didn't hear your name, this is good. Let's see. And look, if you're in the bottom 5, then it's all right, You
can act like a man!
What's the matter with you?
What's the matter with you?
Don't worry about it so much. It's good. Don't be bothered. It's a long season. There's 20 fucking weeks in this thing. It's not an issue. And these mean nothing, by the way. They mean absolutely fucking nothing. So it's just fun for me to look at. And here we go. Speaking of fun for me, let's take a look at this. Number 5, bam, we have Jesse with Don't Go Jason Waterfalls. Don't go Jason Waterfalls. He's at 5 at 3.75 wins per week. Nice job there. And then we have...
What the fuck is Tingus Pingus?
Tingus Pingus at 4 with 6 wins per week. This is where we take a jump from the from 5 to 4. And then we have Jack coming in at, the Long Neck Lifters. Big beer guy. We have him at 7 wins per week. Lincoln fleecing and feathering all over the fucking place. Good job. He's tied with Jack at number 2 at 7 wins per week. So Jack's not in 3rd. Sorry, he's technically tied for 2nd. And then you got the commish. You got Curry on My Wayward Son at 9 wins per week. And that is correct. That is an average. I checked. I triple checked. I quadruple checked. But these last 2 weeks, I've beaten every team in the league. If you matched up me with anybody else, I get it. I know what you're going to say. You're going to be like, oh, well, I played to my matchup. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. If I was playing against you, it would have been a different story. I know. They're not perfect. I'm just looking at the stats as they were as a whole, just to give yourself an idea of where you're looking at. It's just fun, all right? It's fantasy sports, so don't worry about it so much. It's just fun for me. It kills some time, and I have a blast doing it, so whatever. I'm a dork. Fuck off. All right, now let's take a look at the standings. Standings are interesting now. It's pretty close. Obviously, we're only in week 2, so nobody get fired up about it. Nobody get too concerned. We have a lot of time left. So, let's share this fucking screen. All right. Previously at 0-1, Don't Go Jason Waterfalls says, Excuse me. I'm in the top 5 now. Good job. Tingus Pingus, Brian at 1-1, also saying, Excuse me. He's up in top 3. And then Lincoln and I are the 2 undefeated teams at the moment at 1 and 2. Very early still, so don't worry. We got a tie to that will hopefully not make or break anybody's playoff hopes like it did last year. I think it was a mess last year. I had all the rules laid out. I looked at all the head-to-head stuff, and unfortunately, Tyrese's pieces last year, formerly known as Kyrie on baggage in the 22-23 season, it ended up being bad. So I will make sure that whatever happens, starting right now, I will be aware of the rules, and we will be in good shape to know and get a clear playoff picture so we don't have to worry about anybody getting upset about it. So hopefully that will be all right. Yeah. And that's it. Those are all the stats, Coach Carter.
Those are some stats for your ass.
That's right. So let's see. Let's take a look at our scoreboard for week number 3. We're going to go to the box score here. Here are my predictions. Now, I'm not going to go flip through every fucking day and give you and look at who's playing when, but as you can see, I already set my lineup this week. I got a full board going tonight, other than the Cavs, rebounders, Jaren and Kevin Durant, which all played yesterday. Randy has not set his lineup. De'Aaron Fox still out. I like me in this matchup just because I'm still waiting for Zion to do something stupid. I'm waiting for Anthony Davis to be the McDonald's ice cream machine that he always is, on one day, really off another. But when he's on, he's good. I'm worried about my rebounding totals in this, but I think if we both set our lineups throughout, I think that I have the edge definitely have the edge in blocks, threes, rebounds, assists, or excuse me, not rebounds, steals. So we'll see. But as of now, I'm leaning me. I'm not going to bet against myself, guys. My 2 favorite drops of the season: Don't Go Jason Waterfalls and Tingus Pingus. I think 3 times in an episode is enough, so I won't do it again. Trae Young, DeJounte Murray playing tonight. That's proven to be a great tandem. Obviously, we just talked about C.J. McCollum in the injury report. He's going to be out for a little bit, so Jesse, time to move him to the IR slot and pick up another guy. Stash and build, baby. I like this team. I like Don't Go Jason Waterfalls, but it's hard for me to bet against Tingus Pingus. Tingus Pingus' manager, Colby, he is a guy that you do not want to fuck with. It is he's just seems to always have the edge in a lot of these sports. He's got a great nose for who's playing well, who's not. He's a student of the game, student of the fantasy game, and I'm leaning Colby this week. I think he's out for revenge after losing to Lincoln last week, which he doesn't ever really do that early in the season. Colby's always at the top of the rankings, pretty consistently throughout before he gets his first loss. So I'm gonna go there, and let's take a peek at this team again. I do like the Jason Tatum and Trae Young tandem to kind of put some pressure on Colby in the 3-point department, but we still have guys right there. Devin Booker might come back. Anthony Simons is going to be out for a while, but Tyrese Halliburton's still a 20 and 10 guy. Colby's not very high on that pick. Tingus Pingus not very high on that pick, but I think the whole measure of who was available in that time, I think he's still got a good pick, being that it is a categories league. So we'll see. Let's take a look. Luka Doncic. I want to say that this team is going to play well, but I have one major concern about this week specifically, and that is the fact that Lincoln, fleeced and feathered, is getting James Harden back. So if you're Luka Doncic right now, you're saying,
"Oh shit,
shit, Harry Doyle." So this is not looking good. I would say that this is probably going to lean Lincoln's way if as long as Kyrie, continues to just keep his head down and just play. Also has a pretty favorable matchup against Orlando. He's likely going to be going head-to-head against Anthony Black, who's 19 years old and hasn't seen an NBA player like this before. So that edge is definitely going to go to Kyrie, I hope, for fleeced and feathered's sake. And again, that Embiid and Karl Anthony Towns tandem is tough. So I'm leaning fleeced and feathered this week, but it is going to be close. I think. I think this could be something that is could be on our watch list. Not my matchup of the week. I think that the next one after this is going to be our matchup of the week. Let's take a look at long neck lifters and first team all rookie. I like long neck lifters in this. I'm still a little low on Jake's team, being that he has, John Morant still suspended, Scoot Henderson in the IR slot, and Chris Paul, quite frankly, you saw him come out in the news and say, it's nice to be able to just score 1 or 2 points and then win. Like, yeah, no shit. It's great, right? Now you don't have to do anything. Now you can just relax and ride the coattails of people that work really fucking hard to get where they are. Not saying he didn't, but I just have a problem. I have a problem with Chris Paul being in the top 5 point guard of all time conversation. That's all. If you think I'm wrong, tell me to go fuck myself in the comments. Long neck, yeah. Everybody's got a full lineup tonight, which I should mention. I'll get into that after we're done too. There are only 6 days of games this week, so we'll get into that in a second. Tyrese's pieces and Schmerkaboo. I'm going smoking a bowl here. It's hard to guess against, or excuse me, it's hard to bet against Nikola Jokic anytime he's on the team. And let me tell you, Victor is showing the fuck up. This was Smoking a Bowl was a team where I was like, hey, we're looking at a lot of potential ups and downs here. Paolo Banchero had a dog shit first week. He was not what he had expected, not what we had expected as Magic fans and fantasy managers and ESPN draft leagues. His average draft position was very, very high based on where he was in overall rankings. He's had a couple really good games. He will get a triple-double this year, I think. I would, if there was a bet on that, it's a pretty wild bet, but if he were just to get one, I would say, yeah, he's going to do it. He had 30 and 10, I think 39 and 5 the other night. So he's going to be fine. He's back to his ways. He's playing against some pretty difficult teams. In the beginning of the season, he had some very unfavorable matchups in terms of who was playing defense against him. And just he was having trouble getting a rhythm. You play Kawhi Leonard 3 games into the season, 4 games into the season, and he's going to stifle you. It's gonna be a gut punch for sure. So now that he's back, now that Victor is playing at the level of what we would be looking at as a DPOY and Rookie of the Year in the same year, it's insane what he's doing. So just keep an eye out for that. I'm going smoking a bowl here. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, Imran. I love you. Still love you. But it also does give me a little bit of pleasure that I am voting against Jimmy Butler again. But this team is still pretty solid. Got to set your lineups, buddy. A lot of stuff on the bench right now, but we got Dame, Sabonis, Maxey, who's going to take off now that Harden is out of the way, I think. And yeah, we're going to be looking good this year. So I'm going smoking a bowl that week, and we'll recount and we'll see how we're doing on the predictions this week. I got 3.5 right this week out of 5, so that's pretty good. And yeah, I think that is it. Let me just make sure there wasn't anything else I wanted to cover in this episode. No, I believe that's it. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for listening. I hope you have a great week of hoops, and keep doing your thing. Keep setting those lineups. Exhaust that waiver wire. Use all your acquisitions, which, by the way, we only get 6 this week. There are no games tomorrow, which is Election Day. We will not be getting into that any further. That's just how the NBA goes. We're not here to discuss anything outside of basketball, okay? So that's it. We have 6 instead of 7 because there's only 6 games this week, so make sure you are choosing wisely. Don't do anything dumb like activate somebody and start messing with the bench and use 2, and then you only have 1 available by Thursday. So it's just something to keep an eye on. Make sure you're aware of that. Only 6, not 7 this week. All right, take care. Make sure you set those lineups, and good luck to everybody this week. I will see you next week for a Week 3 recap. Good luck. Hope everybody wins, except for one team. Goodbye.
Gang. Blouses.